Hello, great people, popular presenter, politician, scholar, in fact, a man of many parts, Dr. Reuben Abati of Arise News recently bagged a master's degree in international law and diplomacy studies at the University of Lagos. We'll be looking at the personnel of Dr. Reuben Abati. What could have prompted him to do this despite having a PhD? And I'll also be using the opportunity to address some of the comments that I've been seeing online that people have been asking that is it possible for somebody to bag for somebody to go back to study for master's degree despite having a PhD, and what would have prompted him to do that? That is Dr. Reuben Abati not a PhD holder? That why would you have a PhD then go back to do master? I'll be addressing the reason why, and also I will be talking about why a scholar of age will go back to school. What would have prompted a scholar of age to decide to go back to school? We'll be addressing this and a whole lot more on this episode of Politics with Dr. Omoshola, your favorite political scientist, public affairs analyst. Now, Dr. Reuben Abati, if anything is his problem in this world, definitely it is not certificate, because Dr. Reuben Abati have been bagging degrees since the mid-80s, and I will read his educational background for you and the amount of degrees that Dr. Reuben Abati has acquired before I go into other things, because this will help my analysis going forward. Now, I will read this. According to his information online, Abati graduated from the University of Calabar in 1985. He later studied at the University of Ibadan as a university scholar. He holds a PhD in theater arts, specializing in dramatic literature, theory and criticisms from the University of Ibadan, and he bagged that PhD in 1990. And according to reports, especially as recently reviewed by Yeson Wiki, when Dr. Reuben Abati recently had some issues with him, he said Dr. Reuben Abati had a first-class degree. So I think when Abati graduated from University of Calabar in 1985, I suspect that he graduated with a first class. So after bagging his PhD in 1990, he decided to go back to go and study for LLB, which they call Bachelor of Laws, and he from the Lagos State University, popularly called LASU in Lagos, and he graduated in 1999. It shows about his test for, test for knowledge, in the sense that he has a PhD in 1999, and in 1990, he decided to go back to school and graduated in 1999 with an LLB. And after graduating with an LLB, which is a Bachelor of Law in 1999, he also went for a professional training certificate in journalism from the College of Journalism, University of Maryland, College Park in the United States. That's between 1996 to 1997. And after that, he earned a certificate in management and leadership from the Said Business School, University of Oxford. And recently, in year 2025, just recently, a few days ago, Abati graduated with a master's degree in international law and diplomacy studies from the University of Lagos. Now, from all these things that I've read out, you would see that when we talk of certificates, degrees, degrees is not the problem of Reuben Abati. So what would make such a man to decide that you want to go back to study and bag another degree? Now, before I go into that, let me speak on, is it possible to do another master's after bagging a PhD? And I'll dissect it for you, so some of you that have been asking such questions. Yes, it is possible. The reason why it is possible is that when you bag your master's degree, it is expected that when you bag your PhD, it is expected that the grace and mercy of God will be upon your life, and you will have many years to spend ahead in such a way that you can enjoy that PhD that you have labored for. Because to bag a PhD, I'm talking of the real PhD that you need to study to produce a scholarly piece of work. It's not a child's play. People spend years of hard work, working very assiduously to make sure that they bag the PhD. But it is expected that by the time you bag your PhD, especially if you are a foreigner, if you are from the Western countries where they tend to achieve early, it is only in Nigeria, or should I say mostly in Nigeria, that people tend to achieve late. You see men with white hair, you see people that are old enough to be grandfathers, they will say they are PhD students. That is strange. That is absurd, because as at when I was doing my PhD, my landlord and landlady, they are kind of like young couples, And they already have their PhD even before I started. I'm older than them. So it is in Nigeria that you must be old before you achieve, something, whether educationally, socially, and all that. In other parts of the world, especially the developed countries, it is not like that. So it is possible to bag another master's in the course of passing through life, walking through life. You may have a kind of like a career change in such a way that that career change will make you to need some important skills to kind of like be able to be effective in that your newfound career. In that kind of instance, you can decide to go and do a master's, especially if it is a field that is somehow or slightly related to the field that you bag your PhD in. You can decide to go and do master so that you can acquire that skills. Nigeria usually make a mistake. You go to school to acquire skills, to acquire some knowledge that will be useful for you. The certificate is just a ceremony. It is the skill that you carry about and you begin to use to be kind of like be effective in your field of endeavor. But unfortunately, in Nigeria, most people run after the certificate. They ignore the skill. If it's impossible for you to give them their degree immediately after their matriculation, then you are a good school or you are a good lecturer. And that is not the case. People should be after the skill. So when people need some certain skills that they already have a PhD, they can decide to go for masters to acquire that particular skill, especially in countries that people achieve early. Imagine if you bag your PhD at a relatively young age and you have to live to like 80 years. Within the course of that, the time you bag your PhD to the time you die at the age of 80 or 90, you may have a career change, even 10 years, 20 years after bagging your PhD, that will require you to have new skills. Then you now go back to school to learn to acquire such skill. And at the end of the day, when you are successful, they will just give you the certificate as a form of ceremony. But like I said, the most important thing is the skill that you have, because it is that skill that people will see, not the certificate. How many people have seen my PhD certificate? I can count the number of people that have seen it, but I carry the skill everywhere I go. How many people have seen your certificate? You can count the number of people, but you carry the skill everywhere you go. And that's why they said wisdom and knowledge are principal things. In all you do, seek wisdom. Now, to what can prompt a scholar of age to go back to school? What can force Reuben Abati, despite all his degrees, to go back to school? What is that thing that is pushing him to just make sure that he goes back to school, to go and sit? By the way, Reuben Abati is 59 years old. What could be that? It is hunger for knowledge. When you are a scholar, when you like knowledge, when you seek knowledge, definitely you won't mind going back to school to acquire that knowledge. And kudos to Reuben Abati in this regard, because it is not easy. People don't like to seek knowledge, they like to seek gossip. And that's why I usually censor people away from my channel. This is a channel that, I focus more on knowledge, not about gossip. But people, they look for gossip. They are not even after the knowledge. They don't even want the knowledge. They don't care about knowledge. But for Reuben Abati, despite the fact that, he has made a name for himself, to go back to the University of Lagos and study for a master's degree, what can only push him could be hunger for knowledge. But beyond that, I am reasoning that if Reuben Abati decides to go for masters in international law and diplomacy, it could be, he has an LLB in law. This is like a bachelor of laws. Maybe that he wants to further, and also it may also be, I won't be surprised if Reuben Abati is appointed as an ambassador. Because when you study international law, anything that has the international attached to it, that you need to learn how to relate with countries, or how countries relate with one another. So I think Reuben Abati is not bad for an ambassador. So if he doesn't have anything that kind of like relates so much with international relation and diplomacy, this is masters in international law and diplomatic studies connects him, puts him on that path, and those skills that he has learned would enable him to be a perfect fit for an ambassadorial role. And you know that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is yet to fill in some ambassadorial positions. So if I hear later that Reuben Abati has been appointed an ambassador, Nigerian ambassador to so country, I won't be surprised. It won't come to me as a surprise. But be that it may, even if he doesn't become an ambassador, he has achieved a lot in his life. He has done a whole lot for himself, and I'm sure that Nigerians are proud of him. I won't go without saying shout outs to his wife, Kike Lomo, in the sense that Kike Lomo is the transformer of Reuben Abati, because to be sincere, sometimes Reuben Abati usually operates like a fluctuating current. And Kike Lomo has been a very good transformer to low Reuben Abati when he's high, and also to high him when he's low. So when Reuben Abati is, is operating like a fluctuating electricity sometimes, as he used to do, some of the what I can call both, I can call it unintentional mistakes on air, or some of his temperament. I believe that Kike Lomo has been able to manage him well, and his love for Kike Lomo is known to the public. So kudos to the madam Kike Lomo for being a very good transformer in such a way that when our Dr. Reuben Abati is high, Kike Lomo will step in as the transformer to low him, and when Reuben Abati is low, Kike Lomo is a perfect transformer that will high him. So Kike Lomo has been able to maintain some form of stability, and you can see that Reuben Abati is always looking fresh with his suit, whenever he's presenting. And Kike Lomo is his artwork. He has repeatedly expressed his love for him. I even read that he said he will pay the bride price again. So some of you that you are looking at Kike Lomo, and you are saying, oh, she's yellow, she's fine, she's beautiful, beware of Reuben Abati. You don't want to fall into his trap. Congratulations to Reuben Abati in this regard. I wish him the best that life can offer him. It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politing with Dr. Omoshola Deji. Dr. Deji is a political scientist with a PhD in political science, and this is where we relax to dissect politics and happenings in the polity. Do want to subscribe, turn on your notification button, catch up with my past videos, and of course, I have great, interesting videos coming your way. Till I see you again, always remember that I love you all sincerely.